Good morning. Today we're going to do reflections and we're going to use our trusty old fan brush. We're going to dip it down in water a little bit here. And I do believe we might go with some light blue. Now to get light blue, if you've got a darker blue, just add some white to it. Now if you got a color and you want to get a darker color, just add black to it. But we just want to put a little bit of blue in the sky. Don't have to be a lot. It can be kind of scattered. We just want to give the impression of a sky that's pretty and nice. I believe we're going to pick up a little bit of orange. And I believe right in here we're going to put some orange. And we're going to kind of move it around here. Just kind of make it look like that there's a sun there. We're going to go a little bit more. We just want to kind of make it look circular and kind of give it the feeling that it's a little bit subtle. The great thing about using acrylic paint is once you actually put your color on there and then you go to working on another area, the color will kind of dry, and then when you go back you can put color that will be kind of transparent. Now what I did is I made a duplicate of the sun down in here. It's going to be a reflection. Now we're going to go with some black, and we're just kind of going to lay in a horizon right here. Horizon is just where it's basically the end of whatever, and it's the dividing mark there. It's way back in the horizon, so it's way back. It's where the water ends and the sky begins. So we're going to put some little trees over here, and they're just going to be living different places here. And then we're going to put leaves on them here just to kind of make them look natural. It don't have to be exact. Mother Nature's not exact. We're not exact. Nothing is perfect. We all are variations. Everything in the world is a variation. We maybe need to go up a little bit more on that one. Sometimes you have accidents, just make them work for you. Don't worry about it. You want to be unique. You want to make things that are entirely your creation. But we're going to put, there we go. Now, we're going to put a little bit of water on our brush here. Now what we're going to do, in the areas where you got the trees, there's going to be a reflection. So we just want to pull that down a little bit. Just grab some of it and pull it down a little bit. Some places you're going to get more than you are other places. But don't worry about it. Nothing has to be perfect. but you want to pull it down to where you basically got pretty well the same type of thing going on down here as you do up here, but not showing out as much. But we want a little bit more right in here because we want our trees to look like that they're reflected in the water. Now, okay, let me see. What are we thinking we might do now? I think we may go with a smaller brush if I can find the one I want. I found it. Okay, we got a small brush now. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take a little bit of white and we're just going to go right here. And we're going to kind of put a horizon line back here. And what we want, this is basically just water, and you got land way over there, and you got, you know, you've got a sun. Now what we're going to do here, okay, we got over there. Now, we want to just kind of stagger a little bit of white, because these reflections down here, we don't want them to overwhelm. We don't want it to look like that it's the same as it is up there, because it isn't. But you want indications. And we can even go with a little bit of white that goes over the reflection of the sun there. Now, we just want to and we want to soften it out as much as possible there. Now, I'm going to work a little bit on some clouds, I do believe. Up here where the sun is, what we're going to do is we're going to build up a little bit of clouds over in here. And we're going to kind of let the clouds go in on the sun. And it's okay if some of the sun goes with you on that. Some of the color is going to flow and blend into the other parts of it, and that's okay. That's what we want. When you got a painting, what you want to realize and what you want to do is some of your color that you've got in the sun there, you want to bring it out in other parts of the picture, especially close to the sun. You want to give a little bit of brightness, a little bit of orange color here. You want to make it look like the sun's reflecting on the trees here. And by putting color that's not just there, but it's other places, it spreads it out more. And it unifies the picture quite a bit more. When you got a picture, colors need to be in other parts of it as well, just for the simple reason to unify it and give it a wholeness look. Like if you got a house and you're doing a house painting and the yard's green, well, its chances are that green is going to be reflected in that house a little bit. So anything you create, you want colors to reflect a variety of places in the painting, because it will just unify your your work so much. I believe we may, back here in the sky, we may put a couple birds, and we can make simple little birds with just the little V there. They're a little bit dark, and I don't want them that dark when it's done, but it won't be, and you'll see in just a little bit. Just put a few birds. Now, I'm believing on this side of the water, we might have a tree that might live right over in here. And we might just make him kind of scraggly. He's kind of forgotten about, I suppose. But he's weathered the storms of life. And he's survived so far. And we might just make it one of these kind of trees. And we might just put there we go. And we're just going to put him on up here. Now this little tree, he's very old, so he's just kind of falling apart. So we're just going to put some limbs. Just put a few limbs. He's falling apart. He's not in the greatest of shape. So we're just going to put a few limbs here. Now, and put it over here a little bit. There we go. Now see how this kind of just builds up? That's the beauty of creating your little world, is you can create it how you want to. Okay, I'm going to think these trees, I'm not going to put a lot of brown, but I'm going to put enough. But we also want to leave some of the black intact, but we want to put enough of the brown to where it just gives the feeling that we've got a trunk that's got character. We want to leave it with a lot of character. That's the thing about a picture. When you build it up, you want to give it some character, give it some texture, some color, and you want to give it life and be aware of, always be aware of perspective and be aware of negative space and all of that. But in this picture, we're going to worry about it having a reflection, and we're going to worry about it having character, and we're just going to make a pleasing, nice painting. Okay, I put a little black down in here. Now, I think maybe, it's just maybe, I think down here might be a little rock. We're going to just put a little rock right there. And we might put a little rock right here. Okay, now, I believe we're going to take a little bit of green. We don't want green to be totally forgot about. Green green feels awful lonely if it don't get used. So we just better put a little bit of green in here. But we're not going to put a lot of green. We're just going to put a little. Now, let me see here. I do believe we're going to put a little bit of orange over here. We're going to put a little bit of orange just to kind of highlight it. And just to kind of give it the feeling that it's catching a little bit of reflection off of the sun. We're just catching a little bit of reflection from the sun there. But that's very important in doing a painting. You see how the orange carries out through the whole thing? The orange is reflecting. Your reflection, you pulled down, and then we went over it a little bit with some streaks and settled it a little bit. Now, what I'm going to do now is, if I can find it, I'm going to grab my trusty old fan brush. Now, I'm going to make sure it don't have much on it here. Now, we're going to go with a little bit of white, I think, because I feel like it needs to be a little more subtle. We're going to settle this down just a little bit. Okay, we're just settling down just a little. We're making our sky just a little more subtle, making our birds a little more subtle. We just don't want our birds to take over the entire painting. We just settle that down just a little. But I do believe we might be close enough to where we can actually put our signature. But always remember, when you're doing reflections, just reflect and okay. Be sure when you're doing reflections to keep them kind of subtle and to where you can see through them a little bit. You want to keep your transparency and go with little fine layers and just make your picture look real nice. Carry your colors throughout your picture when you can. I hope that you enjoy creating. Come back and visit me sometime real soon.